Did I
Here
watch?
in New Zealand, we believe in kindness, and there is no kinder way to support your favourite content creators than by forking out cold, hard cash.
Did I watch this?
But Patreon isn't just about charity. You get to see feature videos before everyone else, plus bonuses to tie you over. Tēnā koutou. Associate.
Did I watch this chat? No, right? There's a lot of blood. Yes, you watched this? I might have watched it.
Kia ora. That's a Maori greeting, commonly used in New Zealand, that in addition to saying hello, can also be used as an expression of thanks or agreement. And if that's something you already knew about New Zealand, don't worry, because there's so much left to learn about this little island nation, also known as Aotearoa. You might know about us mainly through the Lord of the Rings movies, and while that association and all the Hobbit jokes that come along with it may have worn thin for some over the years, truth be told, a lot of our country's biggest institutions still can't shut up about it.
There's no smoking allowed anywhere of any kind on this aircraft, as it's a fire hazard.
Should you need a light in darkness to help you find your way, the escape path lighting will lead you to an exit. If ever there were a need to evacuate, support fellow passengers who might require help. Your noble crew are now pointing out the exits.
But we did loads of cool stuff before that. In 1893, we became the first country to give women the vote, thanks to a suffrage movement led most notably by a woman named Kate Shepherd, who eventually got put on the $10 note for her efforts. She also wanted to ban alcohol, but luckily didn't win enough hearts and minds to get that one through. Though to be fair, some people might have been better off if she did. In 1984, Prime Minister Robert Muldoon got absolutely trolleyed and in a stroke of brandy-induced inspiration, decided to call a snap election.
We got a date, Prime Minister.
We got a date, the 14th.
I don't know if he's because I don't know if he's because he's talking about New Zealand, but I feel like this one he's got fucking way thicker of an accent on this one. On this fucking one, miss.
Of July, which we've worked out at Government House as being the appropriate date.
That doesn't give you much time to run up to an election, Prime Minister.
Doesn't give my opponents much time to run up to an election, does it?
He lost resoundingly. One of our nation's most famous landmarks is a carrot. We have some of the best public safety campaigns in the world.
Mate, oh, I'm so sorry. I thought there was time.
He's just pulled out. I don't have time to stop.
Oh, come on, mate. It was a simple mistake.
I don't know if I was going a bit slower.
Please. I've got my boy in the back.
I'm going too fast. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Pretty effective, huh? Good thing too, because back in the 90s and early aughts...
Wait. Is New Zealand the one where they did the fucking wear a seatbelt in the back of the car? Oh my god, I have fucking full body chills right now. The one where they show you why you have to wear a seatbelt? A libertarian's nightmare? You know what I'm talking about? Where it's like, no, that says Irish. Oh my god, that one was so fucked up, dude. Chat immediately knows what I'm talking about. As soon as I brought it up. Actually, we have to watch that, dude. We have to watch that. The anti-drunk driving one too? Oh, I think I've seen this one before. Libertarians really don't give a shit about seatbelts, just saying. Yeah, that's the joke, is that like honest libertarians do, and that's why it's funny. And also they did back in the day. There's a top 20 road safety PSAs in New Zealand. This is going to be more traumatic than fucking murder, dude.
Some of that messaging was frankly a bit on the nose.
Watch it! Watch it! Watch out! Move! Call a cab! Mark! Mark! You're down on fire! Help! 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 Fucking help! Help! Help!
And those weren't the only TV spots that were pretty.
If you drink and drive, you're a fucking bloody idiot! Oh my god,
gnarly.
that's insane, dude.
Kids, they're bundles of energy, but they need the right snacks to keep them going. That's why I give my kids Fruity Bars. They're full of...
Preventing trips around your home can be as easy as tidying up toys.
They used to play this shit at like 3 p.m.
What?
We refer to
the
coolers as chili bins.
Bro, what is wrong with fucking the country? Dude, what is happening, dude? Yo, this is traumatizing, dude. What, are they like just unironically trying to break the brains of as many fucking kids as possible or something? What the fuck?
And we even have our own unique folklore that explains why the world works the way it does. One of our favourites being the tale of Maui and the sun, sort of like an origin story for daylight savings time. In the legend, a young guy called Maui gets frustrated that the days are too short, so he and a bunch of his mates get together, track down the sun to where he's sleeping, tie him up, and beat the ever-living piss out of him. After a full night of brutalizing him, they eventually release the sun back into the sky, and from that point forward, the days were longer, because the sun...
Yo, I low-key feel like America would be a better place if we had ads like that. I'm still stuck on the fucking ads, dude. Like, we have such horrible, monstrous hogs in our country. Just the absolute fucking worst.
The sun couldn't move as fast due to the injuries he sustained from the assault. The story has been adapted into a wildly popular children's book that is still read regularly in primary schools across the land. An irresponsible glorification of violence? Maybe. But you got to admit, it's still a pretty.
No, our drug ads are dumb. Like, they weren't good. They were dumb. This is your brain on drugs. Like, that sucks.
Couldn't move as fast due to the injuries he sustained from the assault. The story has been adapted into a wildly popular children's book that is still read regularly in primary schools across the land. An irresponsible glorification of violence? Maybe. But you got to admit, it's still a pretty good yarn. Yup, all in all, New Zealand is a pretty goofy little country. But it ain't all beer and skittles down here. We have the highest youth suicide rate in the world, for reasons that are continuously debated. We have all kinds of issues with poverty and class division, not to mention pain and bickering around our history of colonialism, the types of which viewers from all corners of the world are likely all too familiar with.
Mad Orchard is based as fuck, dude. Like, I feel like out of most of the YouTubers that we watch that do murder, they're all right. You know, they're like libs or whatever. They're not like aggressively pro cop. But Mad Orchard, I feel like, is like actually fucking.
And in case you hadn't already guessed from the channel this video is appearing on, we have crime.
They're all dead.
What's the matter?
They're all dead. I came home and they're all dead.
Whereabouts are you?
Every street.
Oh, every street.
65 every street. They're all dead.
Who's all dead?
My family, they're all dead. Hurry up.
It's okay. Every street. It runs off Somerville Street?
Yes.
Telephone number you calling from?
I'm sorry. Shadow said, June 20th, 1994, the last murder that it was ever committed in New Zealand. I'm sorry. I know this is dramatic, but... Yeah, well, you know, murder happens, and then they're like, all right, we got to solve it. And then no murders. Australia, gun violence happens. They're like, yeah, we got to fucking, you know, cut that shit out, cunt. And then boom, no more fucking gun crime. Kind of weird how other countries actually respond to the problems at hand. It actually is like more fascinating to me watching countries respond to problems that they see. Like when H-Bomber guy was talking about how like UK took measures against like the fake COVID denier, or sorry, the vaccines cause autism guy. And then we opened up our arms and we're like, come on, come here. You can create a robust career here. You know what I mean? It's so fucking sad that other countries, like, shit happens, and then they are like, all right, we're going to fix that. We can't ever have that ever again. And then in America, it's like, yeah, see, we got this guy. Guns exist. Grow up. Guns exist. Suck it up. You're going to fucking die, okay? It is what it is, bitch. Only thing constant in life are death, taxes, guns killing you in the top of the hour, 60-second ad break, baby. Yeet, yeet. On the Hasanabi broadcast, there's going to be a 60-second ad break at that top of the hour, you know, sometimes 10 minutes before, sometimes 10 minutes after. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I will shove a Glock right up my butthole, and you will like it, and you will watch me, and you will say, that's American right there, brother. There's nothing you can do about it. I will suck my AR-15 dry. No lube. Patriotism. Yeah, Australia had 16 COVID cases, and they shut that shit down. Anyway, if you'd like to no longer see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. You can use an ad block or a VPN. Here's the ad break now.
454 2527.
454
2527.
2527. And your last name?
Bain.
Bain. Okay, we're on our way. Okay, Mr. Bain? Yeah, we'll be there very shortly.
The voice you heard on that call was that of 22-year-old David Bain. It was placed at 7:09 a.m. from the Bain family residence on 65 Every Street in the Dunedin suburb of Andersons Bay. One thing that may have struck you about the call, aside from Bain's dramatic statement that his entire family is dead, is that the operator's reaction to that statement was somewhat tonally out of sync, almost as if they were talking to a child who is about...
Dude, why? Why are you this way? You are the problem. You're no longer allowed to watch or give me fucking feedback when I'm literally talking about a country, not New Zealand, but at least Australia, that did precisely that, okay? Like Australia noticed that there was a problem, and they were like, all right, fuck it, we're fixing it. That's what the government does. And I talk about that, and I say that's a positive thing, and you're like, ha, it's impossible, brother. Actually, guess what? People in Australia, they're getting murdered by guns every day, actually. It's fake. It's fake, brother. You don't know. They don't want to tell you. But in Australia, they're killing each other with guns every goddamn day. It's all a big conspiracy. Not even saying fucking ban all guns. Australia still has guns. I can't even have a brief fucking moment. Like, I literally can't even have a brief moment where I say, wow, isn't it wonderful when countries see a problem and then fix it? No, Americans are like, fuck you, dude. Here's why we can't fix our problems. It's like, well, you're literally just not listening to anything I'm saying. Like, you're not listening to the words that are coming out of my mouth. Like, that country fixed it. Like, fuck you, dude. No, they didn't. They still have those problems. You shut the fuck up. La, 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 la. I can't hear you. Australia's population is only 25 million. Oh, never mind, dude. When it's small. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right. That argument doesn't work for anything, dude. Okay? Like, Honduras' population, or El Salvador's population is much smaller than America. Worse gun violence there. What's up with that? That's crazy. China has less gun violence than the United States of America. Significantly larger population. What's up with that? Like, why do you think this is a good argument, dude? You don't know that? Yeah, you're right. And then the fucking lib-ass take. Have fun. You're about to go to black communities and tell them you're going to take their guns away because white people keep shooting each other? LMAO. First and foremost, it's not just white people who routinely shoot one another. Black people shoot one another all the fucking time. What kind of dumb fucking idiotic argument is this? Okay? So that's one. And two, have fun taking guns away from POC like you can't change the rules of the game at this point. What is this like? Is there a magical barrier around people of color? I don't understand. Where it's like, nah, sorry, fam. I'm actually a person of color, so yeah, you can't do that. Like, what kind of fucking idiotic take is this? This is so triggering to me. Whenever people are like, guess what, sweaty? POC on guns. Oh, shit. Never mind then, dude. Fuck. Because my only point of view is, like, literally exclusively helping POC and not helping white people ever. So now that you said that, oh, fuck, dude, you own me. Like, what? How twisted is your fucking worldview, dude? Oops. Where were we? Oh, here.
About to work themselves up into a fit over something trivial, and just needed to be given some space so they could calm down a bit.
My family, they're all dead. Hurry up. Okay.
Yeah, steady on, mate. There are any number of reasons to explain the operator's demeanour. Perhaps he was just caught off guard by the extremity of what Bain was conveying. Or he could have simply been skeptical of the claim and thought that Bain was having some kind of psychotic episode. After all, family annihilations are a rare phenomenon. Most emergency operators will never take a call about such a thing. And there is one thing about the call that the operator, a man named Thomas Dempsey, will eventually state on record came off to him as unusual. That often when speaking to people who were in a state of severe distress, he would have difficulty in obtaining the simplest of information from them, right down to their name. When speaking with David Bain, however, despite the presence of the heavy breathing and whimpering, whenever he was asked a logistical question, barring a couple of small stutters.
Wait, the Christchurch guy also lived in fucking every street? What the fuck?
His answers came back swiftly and succinctly. While the call may sound frantic and disorganized, clocking in at 1 minute, just about on the dot, it's actually a picture of efficiency. We're not necessarily saying you should read too much into that, but on an instinctive level, Dempsey thought the call was odd. And odd might just be the most prominent theme that emerges as we explore the timeline, circumstances.
I have no idea what's going on with this, but I'm very interested. I'm fucking tapped in. Someone said there's
About
blood
10
in
minutes
this?
after Bain's emergency call, Constables Jeff Wiley, Kim Stevenson,
Is there
Liz
fucking
Andrew,
blood in
and
this?
Sergeant Murray Stapp arrive at the Bain residence, where
Blood
they
at
spot David through
25th
the window
Plain
of
and
his room,
29th
curled
Lane.
up on the floor
Thank you.
and continuing to scream that his entire family is dead.
Wait, what the fuck? Is that actually him or is this a reenactment? It's an old movie?
Front
Oh.
door is locked, and Bain is seemingly too distraught to muster enough control over himself to let the officers in, so they break a glass pane on the door, unlock it from the inside, and enter the house. In a room opposite David, they find 58-year-old Robin Bain, the patriarch of the family, lying dead on the floor with a gunshot to his left temple and a semi-automatic .22 Winchester rifle by his side. In another room is 18-year-old Laniette Bain, 3 shots fired through various points on her head. 50-year-old Margaret Bain, the matriarch of the family, is found in her bed, also shot in the head. On the lower level of the house, they find the body of 19-year-old...
That it's a movie. It's not real. That's why I asked.
Ottawa Bain, lying in her room, also shot in the head. And finally, they find 14-year-old Stephen Bain in a room adjacent to his mother's that they had previously mistook for a cupboard. It appeared that Stephen had managed to put up a struggle for his life. He had a gunshot through his hand, 2 through his head, and a blood-soaked t-shirt was wrapped around his neck. They also find a computer set up in a small office space off the room where Robin was found. It is turned on, and on the screen is one sentence. Sorry, you are the only one who deserved to stay.
What?
Police finally started moving the bodies of the slain family late this afternoon. The sole survivor was comforted by ambulance staff shortly after the carnage in Dunedin. Police were called to this house in Andersons Bay just after 7 o'clock, and it turned out to be a house of horrors.
The police made a search of the house and located the bodies of 5 persons. All had been shot in the head, and a .22 caliber rifle was also located at the address near one of the bodies. Some of the deceased persons were in bed, while others were found on the floor alongside beds.
The family of Robin Bain was all but wiped out. Only his eldest son, David, survives of the 6. He discovered the bodies after returning from his paper round. Today, neighbours were in shock.
Well, it's just horrific. It's just terrible to happen right next door. It's something we read about, we hear about. It's right here. It's just terrible.
Well, I'm shocked and saddened at the whole thing. I can't understand why it would happen.
The 3 dead Bain children had all attended the nearby high school. The youngest, Stephen, was in the 4th form.
We're really starting off a grieving process, and it's going to take a number of days just to get ourselves back into order again, I think.
Mr. Bain was the principal at Tidy Mouth School just outside Dunedin. Today it was closed and in mourning. It's believed Mr. Bain stayed in the schoolhouse during the week and returned to the family home for some weekends. A friend of the family says the couple had been having some marital problems, but nothing that hinted at the proportion of this tragedy. Police have yet to work out how today's killings happened.
We believe that that there has been either a homicide, suicide, or a homicide, but our inquiries obviously are directed towards establishing exactly what's happened, and we can't reach any conclusion until those inquiries are completed.
Neighbours speculate it was a murder-suicide, but police say it will be at least tomorrow afternoon before they have a clearer picture of the Bain tragedy.
And indeed in the days to come, a clearer picture did emerge. While David Bain's story that he came home after an early morning round of newspaper deliveries to find his family dead with his father Robin clearly implicated as the killer was initially taken more or less at face value, the more the scene and circumstances of the crime were looked at, the more questions began to be raised. Right from the very first words he spoke, there were irregularities with what would later become his story. When giving a statement to police, David said the first person he found dead was his mother, after which he ran into the living room where he found his father. It was at that point that he went into total shock and began losing time. But those were the only 2 bodies he saw before calling the police some 20 odd minutes later. However, when calling the police, he did not say, "My mum and dad are dead." He said,
"My family, they're all dead."
Investigators were also curious about that time lag between finding the bodies and making the call. David had no explanation for either of these things, presumably as a result of trauma, or at least that's what David was trying to convey. He did remember his movements upon returning home at about 6:45 AM before discovering his parents' bodies. After his paper round, David said he had gone to his room and taken off his shoes, never turning on the light, despite the fact that it would have been pitch black at that hour during a Dunedin winter. The light switch in his room was found to have blood on it. After that, he had gone and put some clothes in the laundry before washing his hands to remove printer ink from the newspapers. The load from that wash was found to contain several items of clothing, including a green jersey, some track pants, and socks that belonged to David. More clothes were found in the laundry basket next to the washing machine, including a sweatshirt belonging to David that was found to have bloodstains on the right shoulder. In fact, there were bloodstains on several areas in the laundry room.
Guys, I already ran the ad break, okay? I already ran the ad break. But thank you for trying to fucking hit me with the ad break. Also, this dude is guilty.
There was blood in the wash basin, on a shower cap, on a face mask, and there was a significant amount of blood on a green towel that was hung up on a rail. That blood was found to belong to Robin. There was blood on the side of the washing machine, as well as in a carton of washing powder nearby, and on top of the washing machine was a partial bloody handprint. It was David's. The clothes that David was wearing at the time the police arrived were also found to have blood on them, on his shorts, the back of his shirt, and the soles of his socks. All of that blood was found to belong to Stephen. In Stephen's room, they found a pair of blood-soaked gloves, as well as what might be the most damning single piece of evidence against David: a loose lens on the floor around where the struggle would have occurred. The glasses to which that lens belonged were found in David's room, and they were of no use to anyone in the family but him and his mother. Green fibers were also found under Stephen's fingernails. They matched the jersey found in the wash. And David had several injuries that he could not explain: scratches and contusions on various parts of his torso and a bump on his head. Bloody fingerprints belonging to David were also found on the rifle that had carried out the
Okay, bro, like, this has got to be the most open and shut fucking case. Oh no, Matt Orchard always debates. This dude did like the worst job of murdering. Oh no, it's fucking classic, dude. It's Matt Orchard. He fucking does this all the time. Who fucking should beat you? Before you know it, you're like, what the fuck? I don't know.
Sayings. David was adamant he did not touch the rifle or even notice it upon discovering his father's body, though it did indeed belong to him and he would use it when hunting possums, which was his best explanation for—
No, that's not a dead body. No, there's clearly a movie recreation of this very famous case, because it's probably like the last time a fucking murder had happened before Christchurch in New Zealand. So that's why when shit happens in the UK or in New Zealand and shit like that, they just make movies out of it because they're like, this is so fucking unfamiliar. This is crazy. What the fuck? You know? So that's what's going on.
how the fingerprints came to be there. He had no explanation at all for the loose lens, or of Stephen's blood on his clothes, except for that he may have gotten some on his socks if he stepped on blood strewn throughout the house. The best he could guess as to how he wound up with the contusions on his body was that he blacked out and fell down at some point while he was in shock. As for the bloody handprint on the washing machine, David's best explanation was that the clothes that were sitting in the—
Bro, the fucking UK frogs in here are so unbearable, dude. No, your country doesn't have that much murder, okay? You have like knife crime, but like when it comes to fucking mass shootings, like it's literally— I mean, here, do I need to fucking tap the sign, dude? Do I need to show you the video from Owen? Is that what you want? You need to see? You need to see the video of the little girl, dude. This is what it's like to live in America, okay?
I just saw people looking that way, and I didn't know what was going on until I heard someone say get down, so I just started going under the seats.
Oh my gosh, how are you feeling?
It was my second shooting, so I was kind of prepared, because I always am expecting something to happen. I just saw people...
That's America, bitch. Hey, to all the fucking chatters, by the way, who were like, oh, we can't do anything about guns, brother. What the fuck? I mean, yeah, no, fuck that, right? Fuck that kid, right? Fuck him. Right? I need to fucking make sure everybody has a gun at all times. Why doesn't she have a gun right now? I don't understand it. If she had a gun, she could be murdering the guy who came over and did a shooting at the fucking baseball stadium. That's what you sound like when you fucking defend America's psychopathic gun laws, or rather lack thereof. We got like little babies who are like, yeah, it's whatever, you know. I survived the mass shooting last week, so, you know, like my second time, you know. It's chill. Like, not a big deal. You know what I mean? That's America. That's how we operate.
Looking that way, and I didn't know what was going on until I heard someone say get down, so I just started going under the seats.
Oh my gosh, how are you feeling?
It was my second shooting, so...
Per capita mass shootings, the U.S. isn't even top 10. Here's a list of developed countries other than the United States that have experienced one or more mass shootings in no particular order. Where is the United... Where... Motherfucker, did you just send me the death rate per 1 million? Wait, I'm actually... What are you sending me right now? Our KD isn't high enough for some people. Norway has kind of high for one mass shoot. Norway had one mass shooting. Hold on, dude. The irony is, for the record, the irony is that every country has a different designation for mass shootings and shootings in general. They're trying to own you by doing the, oh, look, it's not even the highest per capita. When we have like 100x the population of other countries, shooters would have to kill a ton more to get on that list. We're still pretty high despite that, which is sad. Again, the question is, like, why doesn't China have that? Okay? And mass shooting are not the only problem with gun violence. As a matter of fact, it's one of the many problems. But having a gun and having so many weapons and access to weapons creates an easy opportunity for so many people to, one, injure one another or kill one another on accident, have criminals steal your weapons, and, most commonly, kill yourself with a fucking gun. So that's the reason why it's a problem. When it comes to gun deaths, we are literally one of the worst in comparable OECD nations. Where is the United States? Oh, here it is. Hey, at least, wait, what the fuck? Even the Philippines are better? What the fuck? Are you fucking kidding me, dude? No shot. Motherfucking dictatorship where the leader is literally like, we should murder homosexuals and people who do drugs ever. And we're worse. We're worse. This list is scuffed when mass shootings happen here in Brazil. It's a huge deal unless the drug cartel. No, this is firearm. This is gun deaths. Okay, we're not looking at mass shootings because the chatter was like, well, let me own you. Like, America has less mass shootings per capita than other countries, and it's like Norway, there's one, and it's like, you know. It's not fair to compare the US to Australia or France. You should compare them to Honduras and Guatemala. Like, I can't tell if this dude is doing that because he's like sarcastic, because that's what some people say, or because he's like a very racist person and is saying like, we are Honduras, brother. Like, we got Hondurans coming into the country. No, people wide clap is like a regular troll. So I'm joking. Okay. Where's Just Black? He's like, is he still here? Kind of indecent for them to only fucking show that like the United States' number of mass shootings is, I guess, lower per capita, when guns aren't only responsible for mass shootings. Where is Just Black? He hasn't said anything so far. This is the wiki I put in the chat. You need to sort by total. The US is 9th. No, you're talking about. Oh, this is the mass shooting one. Yeah. Didn't Steven make this point when he was arguing with a gun nut? What point? The video is not over. We're going to get back to the video in a second. Just Black's link said other than? No, the United States is on this list. I mean, you can see it right here. They are on this list. The argument that chatter is making is that mass shooting is a far greater problem here than in the United States, okay? Norway has a much larger mass shooting problem than the United States. That's the argument that chatter is making. Okay? Like, actually, the data that he has shows that Norway has a much larger, like more than double the amount. Where is he? I need to hear from him. I need him to come sit me down and explain to me how in Norway, mass shootings are a larger problem than the United States of America. I mean, statistically, I'm right, but overall, gun deaths are high, mainly to do with suicides and crime. I link the mass shooting data because people think it's unique to the U.S. when it's not. Wait, statistically, I'm right? So you think, unironically, that mass shootings are more common and a larger problem in fucking Norway than the United States? Like, just don't act like you can't fucking skew stats to your favor. Like, statistically, I'm right is such a fucking bullshit baby dick cop-out, dude. You fucking debate lord shitter. Statistically, I'm right. Oh, I know. Yes, I know America is worse than other OECD nations when it comes to homicide and every other fucking reason that, like, every other kind of gun violence and gun death. But that's who I compare America to, the wealthiest nation on the planet, not to the fucking Philippines and Central/South American countries. Are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's like saying New Zealand has a gigantic mass shooting problem. Okay? Because per capita, the one instance in Christchurch is worse than, like, for a country the size of New Zealand, is a worse fucking mass shooting than most other countries. The per capita death isn't even relevant. Total number of death and mass shootings is the relevant stat. Yeah. Well, no, mass shooting numbers is more relevant than that. It's a completely insane fucking way to look at this data. Like, I know you like your guns, okay? I know you like the LARP as, like, I'm a lefty, I'm going to violently overthrow the American government at one point, you know, the tyrannical fucking... Per capita stats always skew things, making comparisons useless. No, that's not true. You can absolutely make per capita arguments when comparing countries that have a similar frequency of fucking mass shootings. Except, these two countries do not have a similar frequency of mass shootings. There's like a fucking mass shooting happening every weekend in America, okay? Versus in fucking Norway, there's one that happened 10 years ago that just skews the data. So thank you for using a Fox News argument, chatter. Please look at this and tell me if you legitimately believe that Finland, Belgium, and Norway have a larger amount of has a bigger mass shooting problem than the United States of America. Like, tell me how this is a reasonable fucking argument to make here. Are you actually, please, I want to hear from Just Black. You really mean to tell me that Norway is having, like, the same frequency of mass shootings that we are having? Please explain to me. If you legitimately think that there are kids in Norway who are like, ah, fuck, man. The number of people that are killed by with firearms in Norway. Okay, I'm not buying the Statista account. Insane. Doesn't this chart say that you're more likely to get killed in the other 6 countries than America in a mass shooting? In Norway, there were, yes, there were 2 mass shootings, like 2 notable mass shootings in Norway. But one of them was literally one of the biggest fucking mass shootings of all time. Especially for Norway. The things that tells us that Norway mass shooters have better aim, better preparation, or security just isn't prepared for those situations. What do you mean mass shooters? Like you're using the plural. Bro, in America, it happens literally every fucking day, dude. It happens multiple times every day. It doesn't happen in Norway, dude. It happened once. It was a fucking white supremacist terrorist. Last mass killing in Finland was in 2017. Knife attack that left 2 dead, 8 injured. Counting mass shootings is a notorious difficult exercise. For one thing, there's no consensus on what counts as a mass shooting. I already mentioned that. And what doesn't. The FBI, for example, defines a mass shooting as involving the murder of 3 people. Here in Brazil, there are a lot of gang firefights and favelas that would count, but it's completely different from school shooters and such. I can't believe that, like, a long-time fucking community memer would unironically toss the worst data I've ever seen in this chat. Like worst. Conservatives don't even use that argument, man. Except for, like, last time a notable conservative used that argument was in 2015 when Brett Baer talked about it. And then it was, I guess, resurfaced on Facebook on 2018. So you're literally doing, like, Facebook arguments on 2018. I never said we didn't have a shooting problem. We clearly do. I was just linking mass shooting. I agree with you about needing more gun laws, though. No, you didn't fucking think about the data clearly. And you dropped that in here because you thought it was a good fucking own because it corresponds to your personal biases. No, you said, no, you dropped the piece of data in there that shows Norway and Finland having a larger mass shooting problem than the United States of America because you thought we wouldn't have the capability of fucking understanding what skews that data so aggressively. Norway has 1.75 firearm deaths per 100K per year. US has 12.21. US and Europe have similar per capita mass shooting rates, contradicted by his own data. The data reports 25 mass shootings in the US between 2009 and 2015. What? What? Only 25 mass shootings occurred between 2009 and 2015? This data is already faulty as fuck. John Lott's own fucking congressional testimony was just completely brain dead. Anyway, let's go back to the main video at hand, okay? We're getting back to it.
Laundry room would have already been soaked in blood, which was transferred to his hands in the process of putting them in the washing machine. Between doing that and washing his hands, he simply hadn't noticed the blood, as he was just going through a morning routine and acting completely on autopilot. No prizes for guessing how plausible the police found that scenario to be.
In a dramatic turn, 22-year-old David Colin Bain was this afternoon led into the district court. He's accused of shooting his entire family in cold blood. David Bain showed no emotion when he made a brief appearance in court late this afternoon. He entered no plea and was remanded in custody until July the 8th. Relatives leaving court tonight would not comment on the twist. Excuse me, have you got any reaction to the arrest today?
No, let's leave it, mate.
When initially questioned by police, David Bain told them he discovered the bodies after returning from his morning newspaper round. Since the shootings, he's believed to have been staying at this house with relatives. Police arrested him at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Tonight, police issued a brief media statement on the case, but would make no further comment. Detectives had intensified their search at the scene in recent days. They've beefed up staff numbers as they catalogued a vast number of exhibits. Public speculation had centred on murder-suicide, but tonight David Bain is in a Dunedin cell charged with murdering all 5 members of his family.
There is of course a big gap between having enough evidence to charge someone and building a strong enough case to convict them. From what we've just been through, it may sound like the Crown had a slam dunk case against David, and while he certainly wasn't looking good, there was no one silver bullet that absolutely locked him in as the culprit. Being quick to hire defence attorneys early on in the investigation, work was surely being done to elicit the expert testimony of psychologists that could lend credence to Bain's claim of sudden trauma-induced memory failure, and perhaps even help him along to retrieving just enough of that painful information locked deep in his subconscious so as that he could craft a better story than he had initially given to police. Which is exactly what happened, of course. He did eventually manage to recall rushing into his siblings' rooms, which helped go some way to explaining how Stephen's blood wound up on him, among other things. Couple this with a seeming lack of motive to commit such a horrific crime, and an absence of any violence in his history, and you were left looking at some chance the man authorities believed to be one of the worst mass murderers New Zealand has ever seen could walk free. And when fighting to prevent such an injustice from occurring, the process here is the same as it is anywhere else. Step 1. Secure the evidence. Any investigator worth their salt knows that so much as moving an ashtray an inch to the left can alter a crime scene and compromise a case. And so it should go without saying.
Wait, that's the blood? That's not... Wait, hold on. Wait, no, maybe there's more? That's what you guys were upset about? 4 people, worst mass shooting in NZ history, as bad as the US? No, there's... Okay. There's definitely one mass shooting that occurred, a fucking act of terror that occurred in New Zealand that's worse. Well, I guess not New Zealand. Wait, what the fuck? Yeah, Christchurch is in New Zealand. Yeah, Christchurch was definitely worse than this. For a second, I had a brain fart. I was like thinking. $11,000 people. Okay, guys, stop mentioning gun deaths in America. Every single normal-brained person in the chat is aware that gun deaths in America is significantly worse than like most, if not all, comparable other OECD nations. Okay, I promise. I promise. Okay. Normal brain person is mutually exclusive with chat. Diablo, I like nail polish. Okay, I think it looks cool. Men don't have a lot of opportunities to accessorize, or we just have like a very basic fucking fashion. Okay, does that help you understand? You keep asking, why do you use nail polish? Why do you use nail polish? That's why.
That the very best law enforcement professionals that Dunedin had to offer was seeing to it that every speck of potential evidence in the Bain household was preserved, protected, and hey, what's this?
A fiery end for a house that the Bain Family Trust said could no longer be left standing. I'm standing more than 100 metres away from the fire, yet I can still feel the intense heat of the flames.
What the fuck?
Yeah, they burned the fucking house down.
The house was consumed by towering flames for more than an hour. The fire could be seen over most of the city. Relatives say they did not burn the house for emotional reasons or to cleanse the property. It was the quickest way to make way for a sale. For the fire service, it was an unusual operation.
We treated it as a humanitarian exercise only. The family concern was obviously that there would be vandalism.
Neighbours were glad to see it go.
I think it's a good thing.
Oh, do you, mate?
There's a lot of real bad memories.
The house was a bit of a menace, really, just sitting there. And it was going to be done sooner or later by somebody.
The legality of the fire has been questioned by one law expert.
Bro, this is literally... This is some America-ass behavior from New Zealand. Fucking crazy cunts out there. What the fuck are you doing? The fuck are you doing, mate? These fucking Kiwis, they're fucking crazy.
Who doubts that the legal loose ends, such as who owned the house, have been tied up. But a trustee told 3 National News that the only surviving member of the Bain family and the man charged with the 5 murders, David Bain, agreed.
Who's this? Did you know your bae is streaming right now? Who's my bae?
Something just moved.
Who's this? Doja Cat?
This
What game is this?
only gotten worse. So let's go. There's the party room, the restrooms. Okay, everything looks pretty fucking terrible to me, but I guess that's a good thing.
Five Nights at
How do we
Freddy's.
get at it?
I've never played this game. Is it good? Someone was saying they're a FNAF sexual. All right, let's just keep going.
To the house being razed.
Oh, well, that's good. Fortunately, the somewhat unorthodox decision to okay the incineration of the crime scene did not significantly impede the Crown's case, as they had of course already collected a wide range of physical evidence by that point. David Bain pled not guilty, but after a 3-week trial was convicted on May 29th of 1995 for murdering his mother, father and 3 siblings, all in cold blood, and handed a sentence of life imprisonment with a minimum non-parole period of 16 years. Don't even ask. David Bain's story is not over yet, but before we get into what happens next, there is one more thing you should know about New Zealand. We really like rugby.
Smith, away from Mwanga, McKenzie, quick hands, now Barrett, Johnny Barrett to the corner,
Like, we really, really like rugby.
Thank you,
To
Job
an extent that's difficult
10 fucking tier 1 gift subs. Yes.
to convey to someone who's not from here. Obviously, sport in general is very
good.
popular all over the world, and rugby is a cornerstone of sporting culture in other nations too. But it's just different here. There is no simple explanation as to why the game is such an integral component of our country's cultural DNA. But if you were to have a go at giving one, this is about as good as could be offered. Because we're such a small country, we have somewhat of a collective.
H3 is live and he wants to get you in Discord. H3 wants to talk to you on Discord. I'll fucking do it. I'll fucking do it, mate. I'll fucking do it, mate. Why hasn't he reached out to me though? Or wait, he might have. I mean, I'm down. I'll talk to H3. Watch out, Hasan, it's a trap. Steven Crowder is backstage.
Not work.
That makes you feel
bad? Yes, it makes me feel bad because I should be rescuing animals.
He has such a good background, dude.
You
What's the
could.
code?
I rescued you, you animal.
You rescued me from the cold streets of Detroit.
Thanks, bro.
Oh, was that a lie?
That's my first animal rescue.
Did you guys just debate me?
Proud. Damn, this Amaranth thing, though. Crazy.
You guys were just debating me, dude. What the fuck? I got excited, and it's just a fucking lie.
There's 20,000 people watching this, you guys. It can't be that bad. That's awesome. All right, I'm gonna bail. Are we not getting suggestions or anything? Any topics? You guys see anything interesting, or they just want us to talk to the guys? Which is kind of what I want to do, too.
Yeah.
Here, let me see if he sent me his Discord. Right.
Am I don't know if I'm friends with him on...
Maybe I should call him? Is that weird? Good try. I'll try.
I don't know if I'm...
Is that Maya? Is that Amaranth flicking still? Because I don't have it open.
I don't know if I'm friends with him on Discord. He can just...
Tricky shit, dude.
Oh my god, we're all fucking... Oh god, this is such boomer shit. You're not that guy, pal?
I'm already on Livestreamfails. What? Oh, you want me to react to this shit, love?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
that's a pretty common live streamer topic.
Okay,
Let's
cool.
Go through,
Let's see.
go through Livestreamfails and see what you think.
Okay, great. Let's see what's going on in the world of Twitch.
Let's take a look into our future right here.
Yeah, I don't think I have him on Discord.
Our goal should be to end up there.
Really? I thought it was bad to be on Livestreamfails. Back when I was
two-sided
streaming,
coin, I guess.
Back when I was streaming, it was just when it was like each 3 says something stupid and Joe.
Yeah, I can't. He can hit me up on Twitter, but I can't. Like, I don't know what his Discord is. But I don't even know if he has his Twitter open right now. I'll just send it to him. Maybe he'll... Miz is trying to steal the moment. Well, I mean, Ethan is friends with Misgift too. Like they've hung out. So that's not surprising. If he's like he probably wanted to talk to him as well. You know what I mean?
I'll send it to you.
Wait,
I'll send it to you on WhatsApp, okay?
AB, I hit on you like that every day.
Thanks, Zach. Is that kind of anyway? I mean, what do I think about that? Good for her.
They're sending DM to Mischief, not you. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me, but fans are requesting him to call you. Why do chatters do this? Where it's like,
I think you're beautiful.
you should really work on not getting derailed and baited by chat. All right, well, I sent him my Discord username and number if he wants to talk. Those nations like Belgium, Macedonia, Finland, entirely combined with way less population than the USA, disingenuous. No, the per capita argument does. The per capita argument isn't a problem in most instances. The issue here isn't the utilization of the per capita argument. Anyway, let's just keep watching this.
Insecurity about being perceived as insignificant. As a result, we love it when we punch above our weight and get a big win on the world stage. If a Kiwi achieves international notoriety for something...
XQC mocked you watching murder videos? Why? What is going on? Is everyone just trying to fucking drama bait? Are you guys bored? Is that what's going on? Are you guys just like not having fun? So you're just like, let's fucking make content for ourselves by like, you know, baiting shit?
They pretty much automatically become a legend in their homeland. Not just because, or perhaps even primarily because, of whatever it was they actually did, but simply by virtue of the fact that their success put New Zealand in the minds of people who presumably weren't thinking of us before. Even something as simple as hearing the country mentioned on a major TV show will induce a noticeable degree of excitement in many of us.
Where do you want to go? South America? Europe? Australia?
Is New Zealand part of Australia?
New Zealand is New Zealand.
And nothing brings us the attention and that feeling of significance we so crave with the sort of consistency that rugby does. Our national team, the All Blacks, regularly wipe the floor with countries that have 20 times our populace.
Why does he keep
and
talking
boy,
about
are we proud
rugby?
of them for
I mean, I'm sure there's
so
a reason,
if you're
right?
good enough at rugby to become an All Black, you're endowed with a kind of aura that sets you apart from the rest. Again, other countries have celebrity sports stars, but again, it's just different. The point of all of this is, in New Zealand, if you have public image problems you really need to work on, like say for instance, pretty much everyone thinks you killed your whole
He keeps talking about rugby because he's a Kiwi. But like, why? What is the reason for why he keeps bringing that up?
family, and you want to rectify those problems, i.e. convince as many people as you can that you didn't, having an All Black in your corner is a big plus. Now don't take that the wrong way. We're not saying that in New Zealand any nationally admired rugby player can just walk into the Court of Appeal, kick a ball over the judge's head and score an acquittal. You still need a case and supporting evidence just as much as you would in any other country. But in terms of getting the word out and building your case in the court of public opinion, an All Black makes for a very desirable advocate. And David Bain found such an advocate in a man named Joe Karam. Having played in the team as a fullback, known for packing one hell of a kick from 1972 to 1975, Karam stumbled upon the cause of Bain's innocence in 1996 when he had an encounter with a small group of students that were selling jam to raise money for his appeal. He listened to their arguments and was intrigued enough to begin studying the raw case files for himself. From there, he not only personally befriended David Bain, but became somewhat of a de facto attorney on the case himself, building new arguments and unearthing new evidence through his own original research. Here are some of the key points that David's team and Joe Karam brought forward. An adequate case was never made for Robin Bain as a suspect. One of the things that makes this case so peculiar is there are only improbable scenarios to consider, yet we know one of those improbable scenarios must be the truth. The two-person suspect list is the clearest illustration of this. Though the Bain case is very divisive, everyone agrees on one thing. It was Robin or it was David. The problem is that neither Robin or David had anything resembling a logical motive to want to annihilate their entire family, except that David's defense team were able to unearth some details about Robin that would certainly make him a more likely culprit. Robin's relationship with Margaret Bain had been deteriorating, and he had begun living in a caravan in the backyard. That much was known at the trial. What wasn't known is that his 18-year-old daughter, Laniette, had been telling some of her friends and associates that he had been raping her for years. When we say it wasn't known, the revelation did come up during the trial, but was never presented to the jury, as the only person who came forward with this information was a friend of Laniette's named Dean Cottle, who subsequently failed to appear in court.
Boys, you're trying to communicate something to me about Ethan trying to contact me when I've already DM'd him. I DM'd him on Twitter with my username on Discord and number. Okay? And I also told him, let me know your producer's Discord name because otherwise it might get lost in the sea of requests. So, if I have his number, you just text him. I don't have his number, but I'm doing it. Okay, I'm taking the initiative and making taking the necessary steps of action. Okay, blood at 29:20, but I think all the rest are fake blood. Yeah, there's a lot of fake blood in this video. Luckily, there's not a lot of real blood in this video, because otherwise it would be a problem. Wait, are you sure 29:20 or 28:20? Because there's one chatter said 28:20 is where the blood is.
Despite a subpoena, he eventually spoke in front of the judge after an arrest warrant was put out for him, and was apparently so incoherent.
Damn, you look desperate? Or Twitter DMing my friend? Like, do you lack comprehension? Do you not understand how, like, how this works? Like, I don't understand. Why is it that chatters always fucking act like they know what's going on behind the scenes, like, better than the way the streamer's describing it? You know what I mean? It's always like, dude, you're fucking desperate, dude.
That his testimony was deemed to be unreliable. In the years following David's conviction, however, more friends of Laniette came forward to substantiate much of what Cottle had said, that Laniette was anguished over being abused by her father, and might come forward to accuse him publicly, the prospect of which one could imagine might push him over the edge if he were already mentally unstable, which by some accounts he certainly was. Robin worked as the principal of a small primary school, and shortly before the murders, some of his young students had taken to writing stories about children who murdered their entire families. Some of his colleagues were shocked when Robin decided to publish these stories in the school newsletter. Bloody sock prints may have implicated Robin. During the trial, the prosecution argued that bloody sock prints on the floor were David's. David never actually protested all that much against this, because his thinking was that he may have stepped in blood while discovering the bodies, put as much stock in
Okay, that's actually fair. That was a lot of blood. There was blood there.
that explanation as you like, but one thing's for sure, the prints belonging to Robin would be a lot better for David's defense. And as it turns out, more evidence came to light showing that may well be the case. David's bare foot was measured at 300mm, whereas the sock prints were determined to be 280mm in length. Robin's foot, 270mm. So closer. One thing to note about the bloody prints, they were partial prints, only visible with the enhancement of luminol spraying, so we're not talking about vivid impressions from a foot absolutely drenched in blood. That the 280-odd-millimeter prints could have been left by David's bigger feet or Robin's smaller ones are both possibilities, but later experts, who leaned much more in Robin's direction, were forced to rely on estimations derived from photographs from the initial investigation on account of the fucking house being burned down. So even if this point isn't conclusive, it lends a lot of credence to the notion that David was denied a fair trial, as his team was never able to conduct the sorts of measurements and tests that might have resulted in a much more concrete finding that the prints were not his. The bloody fingerprints on the rifle may not be so damning after all. Bloody fingerprints on the murder weapon is the kind of phrase that's sometimes used as a hyperbolic example of the most damning evidence someone could possibly have against them, so you'd be forgiven for laughing at David's explanation that they might have come from hunting possums. But tests were done after the trial that showed maybe, well, maybe. While blood from other points on the rifle was tested at the time and came back positive for human DNA.
Dude, the fucking 12-year-old miskids are significantly worse than Minecraft stands, I've decided. I mean, actually, some of them might unironically be Minecraft stands because Miskiv is, like, constantly fucking collaborating with them. I don't care. Like, I just want to watch this video, man. Can we please just fucking move on? Like, if they want to have me on the fucking show, they'll reach out. Like, you guys are so fucking annoying, dude. And yeah, Dan fucking sent me a request already. Jesus fucking Christ, chat. I don't know why you're like this, dude. I don't understand. Oh, Miskiff beat you, dude. He beat you. Okay, dude. I'm glad. I'm happy. Okay. Then go fucking watch him. Then go watch him. Why are you here? This is something I will never understand. Why don't we just go watch Miskiff then?
DNA.
Emote only for the GTA RP level of chat bait. Yeah, literally, like, it's so fucking cringe whenever streamers and their communities interact with one another. It like gets to a point where I'm like, you're derailing the fucking stream to a psychotic fucking degree. Like, what do you want me to do? Fucking get upset or something? Like, I don't understand.
The ever so important blood that had David's fingerprints in it was not until 1997 when his defense team did have such tests done and the results did not come back positive for human DNA, i.e. it could have come from a rabbit or a possum or some other small creature. Think this sounds like a stretch? Hey, you may well be right. But the point is again that because the proper tests weren't done when all the evidence was fresh, David may not have truly gotten his day in court. And before we move on to how that claim was received on appeal, one more thing about things that may seem like a stretch, and how so few things in this case are impossible, but so many are improbable. Up until now, we've never actually gone through the prosecution's scenario of how David Bain went about killing his family and trying to get away with it step by step. And while they may not claim to know precisely what happened and at what exact time, they do of course have a pretty specific sequence of events that their case is based on. And their official theory is frankly rather convoluted. That's because the simplest scenario that one might initially imagine is one that they did determine was too difficult to reconcile with the crime scene. That is, that David killed all 5 members of his family, put his clothes in the wash, completed his paper round, and called the police. The reason that's pretty much out of the question is that Robin's body was determined to be too warm for him to have been killed much more than an hour prior to police arriving on scene. He was also found in the living room, meaning he was up and about, which would have been very unlikely before David departed around 5:45 AM. Here's another scenario they had to rule out. David arrived back from his paper round at 6:40 to 6:45 AM, killed all 5 members of his family, including his brother Stephen, with whom he had a serious struggle, performed whatever staging was necessary, and put his clothes in the wash before calling the police at 7:09 AM. So 30 minutes max for all of that. Probably more like 25. A stretch for sure, but why impossible? Well again, Robin Bain's body was considerably warmer than the rest of the family's. So in other words, he died last, and not just by a matter of minutes. And so here is the prosecution scenario. The 4 before, 1 after theory. David gets up sometime before his paper round at 5:45 AM and proceeds to murder his mother, brother, and 2 sisters in an unknown order.
I'm gonna go. We're gonna take a break from this. I'm gonna run a 1-minute ad, and then after that, I'm gonna go and talk to Ethan and Miskiff. Okay? Like they sent me a Zoom link, and chatters, chill the fuck out. Okay? Here's the ad break.